they're brass, they look nice, but I could not get them to intonate without pulling the barrels way far back. And a lot of times with these open barrel type setups, the screw ends up at an angle toward the body of the guitar, which makes it extremely difficult to intonate because you can't turn the screw without risking damaging the guitar. I stripped the screws in the middle one, which is a Goto, a really nice bridge. I stripped them at least 2 times, and the company was completely unhelpful. They said, "Oh, if you're doing this properly, they shouldn't strip. Work with your guitar seller to fix the issue," which was really bad customer service. Okay, it's like, this is a nice, expensive bridge. I can't intonate the guitar without stripping the screws. And I was doing it nice and slow, patiently. I wasn't rushing in and, crushing it, but they were completely unhelpful. Okay, so that was a frustration point. With the one on the upper left, that was a Wilkinson. This was a nice bridge, but what ended up happening was I pulled it so far back to get the intonation in place that the strings actually ran into the screw as it left the bridge. And this is a complaint that I noticed on the Amazon reviews. So I was kind of prepared for it. Their customer service was way better. They were like, "You know what? Don't worry about it. You don't even have to send it back. Let's just let it be." And that was nice. It was also much less expensive. It was only about $20. Okay, so I actually have another guitar with a Wilkinson bridge that works very well. So it was just the barrel saddles, for whatever reason, did not work on this Squier Telecaster. And the last one on the right here is a Fender Telecaster modern bridge. And this was frustrating because on an article from an official published guitar website, they recommended using this on a Squier, but it doesn't fit. This one had 3 holes and the Squier has 4 holes. Okay, so it was very difficult to find a bridge that worked. Eventually, I purchased a Goto modern bridge with the 4-hole import setup, and that worked. I've been very happy with that. I was able to intonate it without a problem, and it actually came up when I had to do very little intonation to get it set up. So I was pretty pleased with how that turned out, but it was a kind of a bear trying to figure out which one of these is going to fit with my particular instrument. Okay, so this is what it looked like when it was all said and done, and I was pretty pleased with it. Okay, it's got that beach theme, it's got that vintage cream white. I added some gold knobs, and I put on a white cap for the switcher. I would have liked to have had those brass saddles in there, but as you saw with those multiple problems with the bridge, I just went with that modern bridge in the chrome, and it was fine. Okay, so I'm pleased with how this turned out. If I really wanted to, I could probably paint the top of those saddles and it wouldn't cause a problem. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, but all in all, I feel like this turned out to be a very solid instrument for a low price where I pretty much got exactly what I wanted. And I also found a few pleasant surprises along the way. So in terms of performance, I didn't really know a whole lot about how much the neck affects the playability of the guitar. I knew having a good neck was important, but I didn't really understand the specs and how they would impact a person's individual playing. So the Squiers typically come, and you'll have to verify this. Some of the descriptions say it, some of them don't, but they call it a slim C neck, which is good for fast action. Okay, so this one came with a 9.5-inch radius fretboard, which is typically good for playing chords as opposed to leads or shredding, but it didn't really matter in my case because I felt like I could play much faster using this neck than some of the thicker necks I have on my other guitars. Also, because it was made of poplar, that's a very light wood, I wanted to play faster because the guitar felt lighter. I didn't know that or expect that before I received it. It's just what I learned after I set the guitar up and started playing it. The strings matter. The tens felt good. That's what it comes stock with is tens. They felt good for playing these kind of aggressive chords. Like if I was playing an aggressive rhythm part, they work very well for that. But they don't bend as far as I wanted. I like to go at least a full step bend. So it was difficult to do that. I felt like I was fighting the instrument trying to do that with the tens. So eventually, even with E flat tuning, I stayed with the nines, and that made it easier to play leads. Maple versus Indian Laurel, most people aren't going to be able to tell a difference, I wouldn't think. But I don't know because I don't have a slim neck with the maple fretboard. I like the look of the maple fretboard, but I don't know if it actually change how I play. So I'm still not sure of that, but that might be something you want to take into consideration. So this guitar, I ended up deciding to use it for very different purposes than I started off with. It feels like a scrappy guitar because it's affordable, it's light. The slim neck makes me want to play fast and aggressive. And so what I'm going to do, instead of using it for more ambient leads, I'll use a different guitar for that with a thicker neck and a heavier body. But for this one, I'm going to use it, and I hesitate to use the word shred because, as you're going to see in a little bit here, I'm not, much of a shredder yet. But I'm going to be trying to at least attempt to play fast leads and fast soloing on this guitar. And after studying what most guitar players use to shred, a Telecaster typically is not what a person would use for various reasons. Most of the time, someone's going to prefer a single coil Strat neck or a humbucker in the neck to do shred guitar. But for whatever reason, I want to use this Telecaster to play quick lead lines. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, that's what I'm comfortable with. And that's an important part of artistic development, is getting comfortable playing something even if it doesn't conform to what most of the outside world is going to do. All right, so I'm going to show you a video. I am using a limiter to make sure that all of the volume for this video is even with my speaking. And when you put it on YouTube, you have to use a limiter to make sure the volume is correct. But other than that, I'm not going to apply any post effects in my DAW or the software I'm using to make the video. It's just going to be the raw sound and me playing. I'm also going to be recording it with a cell phone. It's a Motorola G7, so the quality isn't going to be professional. It's going to be an amateur recording of a demo of the guitar. But hopefully you'll be able to get an idea of what I'm going to be using this guitar for and what you could use it for if you choose to go this route. as I said previously, I am not a shredder, and I've got a long way to go in terms of what I want to shred. But that'll give you an idea that the guitar I put together is playable. I thought it sounds pretty good. It sounds a lot better, I'm sure, in the room than it does being recorded on a phone. But it does have fast action. I was able to get up and down the neck pretty easily. If you want to get higher fret levels, I'd recommend maybe a 24 fret neck or guitar that comes with a 24 fret neck or compound radius. I was having a little bit of trouble getting to that high B string, but overall I'm pretty pleased with what I was able to accomplish putting this together. So, what went well, what could be better, and what would I do next time? So, I found that Telecasters are a great project guitar.